Hey, Derek, guess what? It's the 10th episode.
Sure is.
It's the 10th episode of Beyond the Curve, the MX podcast. And tonight, we have special guests because we had a pretty cool special weekend. It was Mother's Day weekend, so why not have our wives who are moto moms and moto wives, although my wife is more of a equestrian mom, but still. So tonight on episode 10 of Beyond the Curve, the MX podcast, we have our wives joining us tonight. And guess what? We had to cajole them, bribe them. Neither one of them wanted to be here, and we don't know how often they will ever be with us. But for one, Brianna cooks us food when we're here recording. She keeps the three youngins, you may have seen them in the background on the recordings, away so that Derek and I can do this. And Michelle does our editing and downloading. So although these women aren't necessarily on the camera, which they have no desire to be on, they're usually a part of this broadcast. So Derek, I'd like you to introduce your lovely wife and tell us about her and let her speak about what she does.
She's going to speak.
Yeah.
She's going to speak, but everybody's going to see a much better looking audience tonight.
Yes.
They're sick of seeing our faces.
It's not just us tonight.
This is Brianna, my wife.
Hi.
Let's go.
Hi.
Let's go. Yeah, they're loving this. Every little bit of it.
Let's loosen it up. I love the 7 shirt. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Can you tell us a little bit why you like the 7 brand?
I was going to put her sign out tonight, and I totally forgot.
So I'm a huge James Stewart fan.
There we go.
Malcolm Stewart I have since we started dating. Those were my 2 top picks, I guess.
Yeah, in marriage, in riding,
Right.
all the above.
Right. And James looked nice in his suit over the weekend.
I'm going to say, I actually even said, man, what was really funny is I was wearing black plaid shorts. I'm like, holy cow, I've got the shorts to match that jacket.
You know what I got told? Man, my man looks good in white.
Can we not say that on here?
No, it's fine. I mean, there is nothing wrong with having a man crush.
Fair enough.
There's nothing wrong
He
with it.
autographed and said that he would marry you.
That is true.
Yeah.
I got the proof.
And he is single right now.
I just need a check every month.
No, but tell us, you've got 3 little boys who race. We'll dive further into it, but you have 3 little boys that have ridden. You have one that races.
Right.
What does that mean to you? We'll dive further into what that was for him, but what does that mean to you as a moto mom right now? Because it was Mother's Day yesterday, and that's a big thing.
So I enjoy it. Since Bowen started the other class with the KTMs, I don't like that. It's too fast. I like the slow little putting around, but we enjoy it. I don't know. It's a whole family weekend spent together with dirt bikes, essentially.
I think you made one of the biggest points. It scares you, but it's a weekend with your family, and you're around other families that are doing the same thing. Oakley is the world's best cheerleader.
Yeah.
Bowen has the smiley face. We're going to call him the smiley face assassin after Andrew Short. What are we thinking about Lake?
So Oakley is going to be my pit board holder. That I've decided. Bowen's going to be the racer. Lake, I think he's going to race. I mean, he's 2 and tells me no right now, but he's all about dirt bikes. So I think
he's a freestyle kid.
I think he's just going to get on
Now
a
that's
go.
scary.
Yeah.
So what do you think about, so you're scared right now. By the time Lake gets onto the P-dubs, Bowen's going to be 65s. When Lake goes into that progression, are the nerves, do you think, going to be less now? Because you're still looking at Bowen on going on 65s versus the KTM 50s for Lake?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'll be more nerve-wracking for Bowen because, as he goes up, he's going to be going faster and faster and, learn more tricks and whatnot. So, yeah, Bowen's our accident-prone one, so I'm a little nervous.
So before we get too far into this, and we're going to start this on a kind of a random note because we're going to talk to our wives about being moto moms, moto wives. These two right here, when they go to a race, like when my wife and I go to a race, we may pack some snacks and then we find any kind of restaurant we can go to. When they go to a race, there are prepared meals because they come from a background where you made your own food. And we went to a race in Bartow, a hair scramble race last year, and they had a full-on meal in their RV for us. And I'm like, I don't know how to do this. And
What would we have? I don't remember.
I can't remember.
Wasn't that chicken and rice?
I think it was chicken and
rice.
rice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
Really?
so not only was it a full prepared meal, it was chicken and rice. Like we had chicken and rice. But when you go to the races now, and are you kind of looked at oddly, or is it a norm for families to be preparing meals? What's it like for the Pee Wee family? We're about to dive into this and find out, but what's it like right now?
No, more of the families they're still, the grills are out, the
Okay.
hamburgers, hot dogs. We're kind of out of the element when it comes to that stuff, but we like to eat. That's just period. We like to eat. So
Yeah, but you like to eat, but you like to make your own food.
yeah, but we like to be at home. I mean, it's home away from home.
Yeah.
So we're still at home when we're at the races. I don't know. It's like a home feeling to me, but I'm not gonna go and starve or anything. Like right now, without the toy hauler. Well, now that we finally got it back for a brief moment, but like we're roughing it the past month really. Now we're just taking sandwiches and we're kind of out of our element. It's full blown roughing it.
Yeah.
Like it used to be, but when we have the toy hauler, yeah, there's always meals. And
Don't you imagine their sandwiches are a little different than our
Yeah.
sandwiches?
We have meat and cheese, and we just roll it up, and here you go. Like, good luck.
So,
I don't even get
Derek,
bread.
while Brianna is sitting here,
yeah.
what does Brianna mean? And not emotional, but what does Brianna mean to you as a race dad when it comes to going to the races for the
She
weekend?
keeps it going. I just get the bikes together. The gear, the bikes, that's on me. If we forget any of that, then I'm in the doghouse for a while. But without her, we ain't eating. We can't keep it together because I can't sit there the whole time. And all I'm thinking about is bikes and how he's racing the next race. I mean, these kids will run off to drive us to drink once in a while, but most of the time, let's put it that way. So, yeah, she keeps it together. I don't keep anything together. Couldn't even keep the bikes together this week.
I wasn't going to say it.
Go ahead.
I was going to leave
ahead.
it.
And Brianna, what does it mean to you? What is kind of the essence of being a moto mom? What is it to you to go to you're starting to go to these races now? It's kind of become a normal thing. What does it mean to you to be a moto mom?
I don't know. So like he said, he pretty much does the bikes, all that good stuff. I manage the other three. He'll be working on the bike and I get him dressed, and when he gets back off the bike, I'm usually the first one back to where we're at. So, I tear him all down, get his boots off, his gear off, get the bike at least up, and then, he comes back and maintenances it and all that fun stuff.
So there you have it from Pee Wee, husband and wife.
It's a team effort.
It's a team effort. And I've heard about the weekends, and I hear about the aspects, and being that I get to see you guys at least once a week, I get to see the wildness. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's you got 3 young ones that are they're on 93 octane the whole time. They are.
Those kids are running on BP. 93 is pretty cheap compared to them.
But it's and by the way, both Derek and Brianna has a full-time job. Brianna, can you tell us what you are professionally? Because most people will be shocked to see, like, Moto Mom. What is your profession?
So I'm a speech therapist. I work with adults. I work in a long-term care facility. I have, a population from probably about 30-year-olds to 99-year-olds. So that's my age gap. I work on swallowing, eating, chewing, your memory, cognition, all that fun stuff. A lot of people, if you go to a nursing home and somebody's on, the pureed food, that's me, unfortunately. But it's better to be able to eat something safely than not at all.
So we're talking about a craftsman and a professional who have 3 little kids who are in different realms involved in the Pee-wee racing world. And they are the norm of what you see when you go to Dade City, when you go to Gatorback, when you go to Mesa, when you go to I4MX series, when you go to Spider, any of these series, you have families like these two all the time with kids at different ages that are doing this. And that's one of the reasons we wanted to have our wives on, but also our wives, to be quite honest, our wives are basically our beacons. Like they are the reason we get to do what we get to do.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the reasons we wanted to have them on. Brianna, we're going to come back to you in a little bit about being a moto wife, not just a moto mom.
Well, this will be interesting.
I was going to say, I'm not so sure you want my input on this.
No.
We want to hear.
We want the input because we have been pounding Derek for months about being management. So we want the input. But if you don't mind, I'll just go ahead and
No, you can stick.
No, it's your turn.
So, as the general host, and by the way, Derek Schaefer, DBS Custom Fabrication and Handyman Services, Trey Heath, Full Service Property Management, Michelle and Trey Real Estate, Myth Pros. This is our podcast, but this is the reason we get to have this podcast. And tonight, I am honored to have my wife, Michelle, on the podcast with me. And she is a moto wife. She's not necessarily a moto mom, but she is an equestrian mom, which for many of you don't realize, equestrian mom is very much like moto mom. When we started in the equestrian world, the first coach our daughter ever had said, "Oh my goodness, you're doing something that's more dangerous than motorcycle racing." And she had no idea that I race motorcycles. And Michelle and I looked at one another and were like, "Oh, that's great. Fabulous." So we're going to touch on being a moto mom because you have done this at a national level with our daughter, who is now on her own, is actually going to be coming home for a week, and we probably won't see her.
It's okay though.
Because we raised her to be independent. But what's it like being a moto equestrian mom?
Fun, stressful, busy. I guess that's about it.
Yeah, but tell me, tell me about changing tack and painting hooves and going to this track and going to this arc and learning this pattern and watching horses die on course and
Give us some nitty gritty.
Yay, that sounds like fun.
Give us, because you're saying it's so nice and smooth, but I know as someone who was not allowed to go because I get too nervous, I know the ins and outs.
It's pretty much the same thing. I mean, we
Grab that thing and talk.
Oh, so we prepare, just like Brianna was saying. I mean, when our daughter Brianna was little, it was a matter of get over here, get the boots on, get the gear on. I mean, it's literally the same thing. You got the shirt, you got the bottoms, you got the gear, the chest protector, the helmet, the boots that the kids can't do for themselves. So when Brianna was little, it was the same thing. You weren't there because goodness knows none of us could tolerate the stress that you get, nervousness for our kid. So her coach would prepare the horse, like you were in charge of the motorcycle and you got the kid, she got the horse and I got the kid. And then as Brianna got older, she took care of the whole kit and caboodle herself. So the nice thing is, as she got older, which you guys are getting there, like, she's on her own. There's only one time I can remember she forgot her gear. She forgot her show jacket, and you had to bring it to us.
Yes.
And
yeah.
we met like halfway
Yeah.
between Ocala and home.
Yeah.
But as soon as I'm not lazy, I just think they need to be responsible. That's how I approached it anyway. So like as soon as she was able, she had to remember her own stuff, which kind of was the transition to me just being more of a cheerleader than actually being the equestrian mom or moto mom.
And she is, for our moto people, she is kind of the Jeannie Carmichael, Connie, what was Millsap's mom's name? Mrs. Millsaps.
Yeah, because we're
Yeah.
There you go.
these names never work out.
Yeah.
of the horse world, because Brianna was skilled.
Mhm.
She had coaches. She just needed to know that she wasn't going to get away with stuff. And so that was Michelle. She talks about how, oh yeah, once she got older, it was at 16 years old, we had told Brianna, hey, Mom and Dad, we're going to come watch you, but we ain't driving the truck and trailer anymore. So at 16, our kid was able to load, back, and drive her own 27, 30-foot gooseneck trailer at 16 years old.
But we're also fortunate that her personality is just Miss Independent. Like,
But that's the independence of
Gorgeous.
what a motocross, and I think that's maybe a little bit different in the horse world versus some of the motocross stuff. Is so much is given. In the horse world, those things have their own brains. Like, if you and I get scared, we just chop the throttle and that thing's done.
Mhm.
In the horse world, it doesn't matter if
Wants to do.
if you chop the throttle and that thing's decided, no, we're gone. It's gone. And I think because I cannot tell you how many times she would text me or call me and say, she was ejected again. 6 months in a row trying to qualify for nationals. Literally on the first or second jump, she was ejected almost every single time. And as a moto mom, think about when your kid falls off this high. She was falling from 5 feet up every single time.
I got some great photos.
So that's why it's not the same. It's not moto mom and moto mom, but it's that independent sport, and you can't do it locally at a high level. You just can't.
No.
So they traveled. They would go to Ocala 3 out of 4 weeks when she was
But
training.
it is the same in that both of our jobs, no matter what the kid is doing, is to teach them responsibility and help them when we can and when they need it, and then gradually teach them. The only difference is, like, with the horse, the kid has to take care of the horse because that's part of what creates their bond that helps them compete better, to keep the horse from having as much independent thinking that they become kind of a unified pair. Whereas with motorcycles, you can still work. The kid doesn't have to be able to do all the work on the bike, and a lot of times they don't. And that's totally normal. That's fine, because they don't have to bond with the bike. They spend their time on the bike practicing, and that's how they kind of become one with the bike. Whereas part of what the equestrian does, they may not spend as much time on what they're riding, but their time is spent just bonding, grooming, caring, tacking, all that good stuff.
Do you see the similarities of being a moto mom versus being an equestrian mom?
But yeah, it's pretty much, it's the same thing.
Spend a lot of time in fields.
Yeah, we spend our weekends going who knows wherever the next show, practice, race, whatever is, and we load up whatever is needed, and no matter how independent we make our kids, we still check to make sure, because that's what we do.
Do yours eat when they're at their thing?
They, regardless, no matter where we're at, they eat from the time they get up to the time they go to bed.
Tell us a little about Brianna's diet while she's competing.
When she was younger, she refused to eat. She would not eat anything.
Drink, eat.
Mm-mm.
You couldn't give her chip. It didn't matter if it was her most favorite food. It was not going down that girl's throat while she was competing.
I was the same way.
Yeah, the only thing we could ever get her to eat, like after, was plain Lay's potato chips and Dr. Pepper? Was it Dr. Pepper?
Dr. Pepper or Sprite. I can't remember which one.
I don't remember. Maybe
Yeah.
both. But that was it. Now she's fine. Now
Yeah.
she's like, hand me that. I'll eat it while I warm up. You know, but when she was younger, she wouldn't eat anything.
Well, as we did with Brianna, tell us who you are, that, and then your balance in between these two. What do you do for your professional?
I'm your boss.
Yes, you are. I am her assistant.
No.
We've talked about this many times.
We have.
But I'm not. We're Michelle and Trey Real Estate. So we are realtors here in Lake Wells, Winter Haven area. And it allows me the freedom to be able to do things like this and travel with you and work on the road. I think your favorite thing is that I can do everything I do except showing property while I'm on the road.
Yep. And that's something we're going to talk about when we get into the MOTOWIVE segment, because that's another aspect. Not only are they MOTOMOMS, they also are MOTOWIVES. Although yours is now turning more into the MOTOWIFE management stuff versus MOTORIDER, which we're all cheering for. So as we dive onto this, we are going to cover the final round of the Supercross, but there was nothing exciting.
We're not going to dig into it.
No, we're not going to dig in.
This episode isn't about that.
No, but so Brianna, I want to know. You can go as deep or as shallow as you want, but from when you met him to where you are now, and what that moto girlfriend, moto wife, to what you are now.
Oh boy. All right. So I don't think. So when we first started dating and he raced, I don't think it scared me as much. Now that I have kids that do it. Now, however, him as like now, if he were to race, which we both know that's a no-go. But like, and even our oldest son, like the last race he raced, our oldest son was like freaking out the whole time. Like Oakley was like, "Oh, where's Dad? He's fallen. Where's Dad? I don't see him." Where, like, the whole time, like, and it's too much. So,
she fears the speed. Like,
Yeah.
so
I mean, it's not like a conceited thing. It's literally the speed. I mean, she can tell you better than me. But
well, so coming from also my profession, you know, I see a lot of head injuries. I see. I can't tell you how many patients I've had that have just rode their little bicycle to the gas station and got hit, and now they're, you know, they're, you know, very severe. Family doesn't understand, you know. Oh, they have all this anger. They're very mean toward me. Well, that's part of the brain injury. So it's also from what I've learned through school and what I've seen and experienced. I guess it makes me a little more nervous for him. Plus, if you know anything about him, he's broken too many bones.
He's broken himself off a few many times.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
that's common.
Had, I don't know how many concussions, broke both of his arms, fractured his skull, broke both clavicles,
Couple times.
broken feet.
We don't got all night for that part.
Feet?
Eh,
Broken feet?
Oh yeah, you know what his solution is? Tie your boot tighter.
Oh, well, hold it all together.
So I got a question for you though. You've been through this.
Mm-hmm.
How do you justify it as a moto mom versus the moto wife?
Okay. So
But I think it's important.
Trey, you're asking me tricky questions here.
But I think it's important because I think there's moms out there that they've watched their husbands, whether their husband was a baseball player or
Right.
a football player, and now they're little boys playing lacrosse or soccer. How do they justify the feelings they feel? Oh, it's okay that little Johnny's doing it. I don't want my husband doing it. So how do you justify that?
So I guess in my case, my son is learning, so you know he doesn't know to have the throttle wide open. He doesn't know. As time goes on, I'm sure he will. But so starting out, you know, practicing and just riding, and it's more of a fun thing for him, whereas this one is all competition. So it's who's going to get to the finish line the fastest, whether it takes me to dive off the bike and land on somebody or whatever the case may be, that's what he'll do. Whereas Bowen is learning, and he still is kind of doing the watching people go by him type of thing. Like, so I mean, yeah, we encourage him, to go faster, to do the turns, but it's not as I don't want to say not as scary, because that's not the word I'm looking for, but
I found this on the web.
oh, I'm sorry, that was my that was my watch. I don't know why it went up.
What is? We
Mine don't-
have to know though. What did Siri find on the web?
I don't know. It went away.
Oh.
So he is more competitive, and his goal is always to win. Whereas Bowen right now is just to ride, to have fun, and have the time of his life.
Yeah. So, as the moto wife, because you were moto wife before you were moto mom,
Right.
how did you deal with the onslaught of injuries and the recovery and the going back, and then as you've transitioned from moto wife to more of moto mom, and you say it's more fun, but those things are going to happen. You've already had some of those things happen.
Yes.
So how do you justify that in your head?
Come on, Trey.
We don't think about it. We try not to
Right.
think about
Okay.
it.
Right.
And that's also a fine answer, because I'm going to ask you those same questions, because you have been asked those pointed questions from people that we've met, and you've seen it. But I think that's the beauty of being the moto mom, the sports mom. We want to say moto mom. Let's say sports mom. You've seen the agony of defeat, the breaking of bones, the thing, and it's okay, because you want to give those options to your kid. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My kids don't like sports. I've tried t-ball. I've tried trying to get my oldest at least into anything. And when we played t-ball, Mom ran the bases with him. So that was a no-go.
Because you didn't want to run the bases?
None of it. So then, we kind of got dirt bikes, and we got Bowen on one, and Bowen, this kind of just seems to be his thing. So my oldest, he'll ride, but it's not his thing. So
And there's nothing wrong with that.
no. So he wants to do his thing. He can, hold the pit board like I said, and my middle one can ride. That's what he wants to do.
All right, Derek, let's get you involved in this.
I'm ready.
What do you want to ask her? Ask her
Oh.
something. There's something you want to ask her.
You want me to dig into this?
Yes.
Lord have mercy.
Were you not prepared?
I'm a good interviewer, so I'm asking those
I
tough
was just
questions.
letting them take the stage. Come on, man.
I'm doing the Oprah
All right,
Winfrey.
let me think of a good question. So, all right.
We need sound effects, so it's like the doo 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 doo.
I gotta word these correctly. No. So if being in my shoes, and we know how the feelings are towards me at the moment with the riding. So our kids are going to be at that point. Bowen's already at that point. I mean, we're trying to throw whips off jumps already. We're trying to push. We were practicing Thursday. Let me throw this in first. We're practicing Thursday at Dade City, and he said, "This kid got in my way. I was just going to kick him out of my way." I'm like, "Well, you can't kick him, but stuff him, That's
Does he know
fine."
the difference?
But yes,
Probably not.
I said, don't kick him. Unless you really have to. At starting gate, you can do that. But since we're already getting into this, what happens when he gets so competitive that
I don't know.
it's like I'm the one on the gate at that point.
I will have to wait and see when that time comes.
It's already coming. It's here.
It's different.
quite
I
as-
don't know.
Yeah, but going as fast as he can go right now,
It's not as
and
fast.
and playing as hard and as fast and as wild as he can right now is still not as hard, fast, and
Well,
wild as
right.
you can play right now. So
It's still nerve-wracking for me. Like, so I understand where she comes from because I don't watch myself ride. I feel myself ride. I don't feel like I'm going fast, where I'll come off. And we had some friends at the last race that I raced when I wrecked, and man, he's hauling ass. Well, I don't feel that. And it's a different perspective. But now that I sit back and I watch my kid do it, then I understand where she comes from. But I'm never in the shoes where she's at, where like I can't not watch it, or I can't, like you with your daughter.
Oh yeah.
See, I get nervous, but if I'm not watching, then I would feel like I missed something, or But this is my bloodline. Like, this is my passion. This is what we do. It's what I've always done. But like from her perspective, I think like how she is towards me is not going to be how she is towards the kids, and I was curious.
Are you offended by that?
No.
Oh, okay. That's good because I see the bow and smile right there.
The way it is, and I don't. We've talked about this already. Like, I don't feel the need to race anymore. I still ride it.
Yeah.
And if I want to ride, I just throw the bike in the toy hauler or whatever, and I take it. She throws a little fit, but it's fine. I'm not racing, but we're gonna do a motocross school in June with Bowen, and part of it is you can ride with your kid. You pay the extra $100, you can ride with your kid. She's like, don't go out there and make it a competition. You can't make a motocross school a competition. But
I know you.
see,
Michelle's even shaking her head. She agrees. Sorry. Yeah.
So I have to interject here because Derek made something about how people thought he was fast. And I was out practicing yesterday on Mother's Day before we went and celebrated Mother's Day with our different mothers. And I was riding, and I thought, it hit me. Sometimes she'll video me when I'm racing. And I'll come through a section, and I'm like, oh, man, I was flying. And then I'll watch the video.
it's the opposite.
And I'm like, my God, going so slow. And yesterday I was practicing, and we were both commenting because it's our practice track is very dry, very dry. So like on a straight line, there was no straight line. It was, and I felt like I was all over the place. And then I realized, and she's like, yeah, the bike was all over the place, but you were really handling it well. And I thought, that must have meant I was going really slow. So
I didn't say that.
no, you didn't say it, but I've now had this realization. People tell you you're going fast, and I'm watching videos, and I'm like, I'm not going that fast. I feel like I'm going fast.
Maybe that's why I don't get as nervous as Brianna.
So on the MOTOWIVES stuff for you, do you feel that, and this is going to sound weird, do you feel like the training of dealing with Derek has prepared you kind of for the three munchkins coming up?
Somewhat. I'm not ready to see my kids go that fast, or to see them, some of those kids that race with my son now are really good. And sometimes I get nervous because, my kids usually not up front, not in the front of the pack. So I get nervous when they come flying up because I'm like, I don't know.
Lately, he has been though.
He's been doing a lot.
They run two different classes. Right now, she gets the insight of running the two different classes together. The better class is the first gate drop. The slower class is the second gate drop. So usually they're lapping because they're half a track ahead.
Right.
Are you a woo screamer guy, or are you like, oh, that's my boy, and
don't
quietly
don't
like,
let her fool you, because this is where I get to talk.
Oh no.
Last weekend we had our mishap, and we talked about it on the last week's podcast, and we went down in the second to last turn on the last lap, and we were in third. When I come back, yeah, I was angry. Not his fault, but a lot of hard work, and we lost it, but she was so pissed off. She's full-blown MOTOMOMS. She's like, and I can't say what she said because.
But it wasn't at him.
No, but She's head over heels for this, whether she wants to admit it or not. Because
No, that's
I
good.
have never seen her. All right, let me rephrase. I have seen her that angry, much more angrier than that. But she was mad for 45 minutes, an hour, and then we get home and she's still, I'm still so angry. It wasn't quite the words.
That's
but
good though. That's fun. That means you're in it. That means you're in it, and I think that's expected as a true moto mom, baseball parent. I mean, we have our daughter's boyfriend. Their family is in baseball like there's no tomorrow, and they'll go to these travel games. Now it's all high school stuff, but they were going to these games, and it was like, we're in the championship, and I'm thinking, you're not in anything. But and it was, this referee did this and this, and it's like, wow, they're in it, and we're all the same. There's no, I feel like there is 1% passive parents.
Yeah.
You
In
want
a
to talk
sport.
about a hard person. Our daughter with her boyfriend, like baseball girlfriend or whatever you want to label her as, like she is mean.
Cracking the whip.
Oh my God, yes.
So how, from when we started to where we're at now, how have your feelings changed towards the sport? Because at the beginning, I know you weren't into it. Like, I don't know if I want to go to that race. Or now we're going to mini-O's, we're doing this, we're doing that. Why aren't you practicing with him every day?
You're going to motocross camps.
So like the attitude has changed, but I guess the question is why? Like, what's so much different from then till now?
So, it's something Bowen wants to do. I don't know how else to explain it.
There's more to it than that. There's something.
I mean,
in you
I
that-
enjoy it. We all enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched you for however many years. I knew it was going to come at some point that our kid would race.
Speaking of them,
Yeah, we
I was
can.
like, is that what I'm hearing?
this is outside of the racing world. That would be the racer in there screaming.
Yeah.
Wait, you can recognize them by their scream?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's nice.
I can
Impressive.
recognize them by every little peep, scream, talk.
See, we only have one, so it's really easy to recognize.
Sorry, we have 3 dogs, and we can't tell the difference between the noises they make. So.
Here's a good story for that exact scenario. Is it Oakley? Oh,
I don't know.
which one fell out of the cart?
Oh,
Oh, maybe Bowen.
Okay, Bowen or Oakley, it doesn't matter. I was at literally one side of Walmart, and Brianna was on the other side of Walmart when one of them was little. I can't remember which
It
one
was
it was right
Bowen.
now. He jumped out of the cart and smashed his face off the concrete.
Oh.
Like he just dove out of the cart.
Yeah.
She
Oh.
could tell it was him screaming from the other side of Walmart. And like, we'll be at some of these motocross tracks with all the noise, and I can hear our kids. I can be down at other friends' campers or whatever. I can hear our kids yelling. Like you can pick them out of a crowd. It's just, I don't know.
such a good parent.
When you have more, I guess when you have
I
more,
was not that. I never that good.
so distinct.
With my
I don't know.
mom.
Their voices are distinct to us anyway. But yeah, she could hear him scream the whole way across Walmart. I'm not kidding. It was the entire way across Walmart. I was in the electronics section, and she was in the food. Yeah, it was pretty wicked.
So my final question for you
Yes.
on this topic:
Okay.
Moto mom
Right.
or Moto wife?
Moto mom.
Moto mom.
There's no moto wife.
Okay.
I mean, granted,
Yeah.
I'm moto
I still
wife.
ride. You still watch.
Right.
But you're there for the kid.
Right.
Yeah.
And honestly, his last race, I was like, this is great. Like, he's doing so well. And then someone landed on him. So then I was like, okay, we're done. Like,
Yeah, but and that didn't affect me at all. Like
But this isn't about you.
the
You-
broken bones.
you got broken
What I'm saying
ribs.
is though, like the broken bones, it shows the difference in the mentality. Because I come out with broken ribs. I couldn't walk. Bike was all smashed.
And I'm guessing there's no sympathy for you,
No, oh god.
but there's
no.
sympathy for the kids.
right.
But either way, you're sad. Whichever one of the ones you love get harmed
Right.
or don't win or whatever, you're sad. But you need him to continue to work and
Right.
to help take care of the children. You don't want to have to
Right.
take on another child.
Thank
if-
you.
If
Right.
God forbid the things that you've seen happen.
Right.
And you've been there, done that. and had your opportunity, and now it's the kids' turn
Right.
to have their
And
opportunity.
we talked about this, I think, on
and
every
they
podcast.
need you capable,
Coaching.
because what happens if you're hurt and you can't take care of the bike?
Can you see me changing an air filter?
You might do a better job than he did this last time.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying.
We aren't bringing this up on the podcast.
I'm just saying that you had a moment. That's all I'm saying.
We all have the moments.
I mean, I
did
have
a moment.
I've learned.
Kevin, if you're listening, don't ask the question later, because he was part of the diagnosis of the KTM that we did not figure out until today.
But that's one of the reasons we wanted to have you on, is because you do cover both those roles, and you're kind of in it from two different aspects, and you're in the growing aspect. You're not one of these MOTOMOMS and the kid's already on a super mini and you're doing all the national. You're kind of at the grassroots T-ball local.
Yeah.
You're at that level right now, and this is, I can say maybe a year and a half from now we'd like to come back and say, like, okay, what does it look like now as a moto mom? And I think that's the cool part of it. And I'll say this: I have a friend, Lindsay C, who's a mortgage lady in Lake Wales, and her kid races 65s or 85s. I can't remember, Parker's or some Parker C, and he started to jump. And she sent me a video the other day. I showed Michelle, and he's getting some good air. They're clearing doubles, and she's like, I am a nervous wreck. Because he's progressing, and he's taking professional coaching. He's actually taking from Bradford, Cole Bradford, and he's one of the things that they were working on, coming out of a corner and clearing a double. And she's like, he's getting big air. I'm nervous. I'm a nervous wreck. And she's a full on. She's in the moto mom world too, and she's watched him learn how to ride, to hopping onto the tabletop, and now they're clearing the tabletop. And the picture she sent us, he's 5-6 feet up in the air, and she's like, this is too big. So moto mom, moto wife, her husband also rides, so he doesn't race as much anymore. He's kind of the same thing. He takes care of the son and he rides with him. Michelle didn't have that option, so I want to dive into your part as a moto wife, because my journey into moto is I was an old fogey before I ever started even on a bike. So moto wife for you means what?
I don't even know what that question means.
What's it like being the old man's moto wife?
It's just a cool weekend to hang out. I mean, it's my relaxation. Like, that's what I enjoy about it, because I mean, honestly, I don't really have to. You take care of you and all your gear and your bike and all that stuff. I'm in charge of the goggles. Gotta make sure they're clean.
Yeah.
I do get a little nervous that sometimes the little pulley cord won't work, but I have
She's already
three sets.
Three
so
sets,
it's okay.
always ready to go. Come on,
And
don't short yourself.
The GoPro and food.
Yep.
But the way we eat, we fast. So I don't even really have to do much of that anymore. Just make sure you have your energy stuff for enduros. So I mean, now Moto Wife is super easy. There's not much I have to do.
Do you get nervous?
Not really.
No? Why?
But that's just not, because it's just not me. I'm just not the nervous. I get more nervous. Like a few nights ago, you went to Orlando to hang out with one of your tennis buddies.
Yeah.
I get more nervous with you on not you in particular, but just being a car on I-4 driving to Orlando. I worried more about you than out on the racetrack.
Say he's in an open pro class or something. Are you more nervous then?
No, because I'm going to be last.
How the hell did he get there?
Say. Okay.
Oh, Lord. I'm sorry.
This is why they're on.
I don't know.
If he was at that level of riding.
I can't say, because
she's not there.
We're not there, but I'm just not that nervous type, because if God forbid something happened to him, I know he got hurt or died or whatever it might be doing what he loves. Like, if he's gonna go out, that's how he would want to go. So I guess I get more nervous about like stuff going wrong on a normal day, you know, like you're riding your bike and somebody hits you and you end up than that, because I know it can happen. I know there's a good chance things can go wrong.
That's how I choose to go. So.
And I don't know, we've been doing it for so many years, but it never, I don't know, it just doesn't.
May I pose this question to you? Because this is one that always intrigued me because of the fact that I race motorcycles. I race off-road. I don't do motocross, but I race off-road. But our daughter did equestrian. And people have asked you multiple times, oh my God. I mean, there were weekends that Brianna was competing and I was competing before I shut it down. There were times that she was with her at a horse show, Brianna at a horse show, and then I would be racing. And people are like, how do you do that? And your answer was?
Just do. You're both doing what you love. Like, it just, again, I worried more, like, once I knew you were there safely, because if I was with her, then I knew what she was doing. Once you texted or called and said, hey, we're here, we're safe, getting ready to go do whatever, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I don't know. Maybe there's something wrong with me. I don't know. But it just,
And she's not pulling your foot. She's not BSing.
If I was to go out riding alone, I don't think she'd be nervous either. It would just be
Out of sight, out of mind.
don't call me if something's broken.
That's
That's what it would be.
That's my
There's,
response.
I don't think there's any nerves involved. Like, there's many times I've loaded up. I don't know that we've been together when I've done this, but I've loaded up and went to races. It just
Yes. When we first started dating, there was a few that I had to miss.
yeah, you missed them, but like
And then you did come back with some broken bones.
there's
so
a
that's
few
like-
races like pop-up races that I'm just I'll load in the bed of the truck and I went because I just wanted to do it.
What's your rule with me? The kind of the rule of the bike and me. You've always had this one rule because I run GPS, so she can follow me, and her rule is
as long as the little GPS thing is moving,
yeah,
we're good.
and if you can get the bike back, if you can ride,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, you don't get to quit. Is that what you're talking about?
yeah.
Oh, no. You, your first race ever. It's absolutely miserable. Freezing cold. I hate cold weather if you don't know me.
As a
Absolutely
beginner.
First.
Polk City.
Yeah, first
Yep,
race ever.
beginner class, hair scramble.
He's not coming through and he's not coming through. Not once did I think. I probably shouldn't admit this out loud.
It's all right. Go ahead.
Not once did I think, oh my God, I hope he's okay. Why is he not crossing the finish line? Then I see him pushing the bike, not on the track. Why are you not pushing the bike on the track? If you can push the bike, get on the track and push the bike over the finish line. It's over there. I'm literally screaming at him because I don't understand. He's like, well, there's no, the radiator got a hole in it and it's leaking the stuff out, the blue stuff everywhere. And I'm like, thank you. I'm not the mechanic. Listen, I'm not the mechanic. I got the goggles and the GoPro. Okay?
About half of us here at the table are.
So, but no, I mean, my concern, you were breathing.
Yeah.
If you're not broken or bleeding, you keep going. And the same thing goes for my daughter. If you're not broken or bleeding, you keep going.
And that is something that as the moto person, it is so appealing because I'll get on this last race. I only went there to get seat time.
Mm-hmm.
And halfway through I'm battling with my arms, the first lap, and it was a 10-mile loop, and I was like, I'm just gonna call it after the first lap. And I finished the first lap and I'm like, I feel okay. The second lap I came through and I was like, I'm done. I'm good. I don't really need this third lap. She walks out with the dog and she cheers for me. And I'm like, oh, I can't.
Such an effect I have on him.
I can't quit now. We're not cheering, folks. We're not rabble rousers. We're just
I yelled.
You did, yes. She yelled, and she came out, and you can see it on the GoPro. I can see her coming out to the corner of the track, cheering for me, and I'm like, and all I could think of was, well, shit, I can't quit now. So I went and did the third lap, and I came in and I told her, and she's like, well, good. You needed that seat time, and that's how she's kind of helping me on my practice stuff now. And it's funny because she's not that she's the most technical person, but kind of like what's going to happen to you. She's watched me ride since I was 31 years old. She also has watched professional riders ride. she knows what's good and what's bad. So she'll tell me, she's like, you're leaning too far this way. You need to get more off the back of the bike. You're trying to do this. It looked like you were doing this. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, the funny thing is Brianna is, I don't know if world class is the right term, but pretty high level rider. She can tell her, it looks like you were a little off on your seat. The diagonal wasn't right or something.
Not so much anymore. I used to.
Yeah, but at a certain level.
Yeah.
But it's funny, you're going to be able to dive into stuff at some point, and whether it's your son or some other little kid, you're going to be able to say, hey, have you thought about trying this? Because she'll tell me, she's like, I want you to go out and try this. And it's like, oh, okay. Not that she's supposed to know, but we forget that these ladies in our lives, unless they're just reading a novel while we're out there,
That's enjoyable too.
they're kind of watching. They're kind of, and if they're not watching us, they're actually watching good riders ride. And she told, she's like, yeah, we were watching the guys go through the Endurocross section. It wasn't really that hard. And I'm like, oh gosh, I probably should have done it. I didn't do it.
That's not what I meant.
But she knows. And so she's also super supportive. Like she said, when we go to these events, I drive. But she works the whole time so that I get to drive and go to these events. And that's that support of, I appreciate it. I appreciate the fact that she handles that part of it. And we I think we've already said we're going to do the National Enduro Series next year, and next year we're going to go do events that we've never done. Like, we've never been to some of these places, and we're going to have to learn them together. And she's going to work the whole time. We're going to do content while we're out and about, and we're going to have these adventures. But she's going to be my, hey, I saw this on this guy's bike, and this is what he's doing. Maybe you should try this stuff. And we become this team of, yeah, she's my wife, but she's also my moto wife, and she's wanting the best for me. She wants me to come home safe, but she also, I don't want you to suck.
Otherwise, I have to drive home.
Yes, and she doesn't want me to suck the whole time. You know, you don't want Derek to suck. You want us to succeed, but you also want us to be safe. So there's that fine line. But I think we covered MOTOMOMS, MOTOWIVES. As a moto mom, what do you want for your kids? Not for you or Derek. What do you want for your kids?
Because we went over this as moto dads last week.
Yeah.
I want them to do whatever they want. I mean, as long as they're having fun, I don't care if you get last place every time. If you're having fun and it's what you like to do, then do it.
Is there an effort perspective in there?
As in...
Are they giving you everything they can? Or is it just about the fun?
Effort. So, for instance, Bowen, we've had a few times that we're like, okay, you need to hit the gas. Like, and usually I'm that mom on the sideline that's like, hit the gas! Because,
but at his age, too, I don't want to say they forget to hit the gas. I don't think they forget.
She's the mom in the barrels. Turn and burn! Turn and burn!
But sometimes they do lose focus at Bowen's age.
Right.
They're like, oh, we're just riding. Oh, he's
Yes.
got a pretty. And I'm not making fun of that.
No.
That's where their brain is
yeah.
at that age. So yelling at them to, hit the gas, turn the throttle, whatever, is not. You're not being mean. It's like,
when we were
dude,
younger,
wake up.
you didn't see many 5-year-olds riding dirt bikes.
Right.
Not on a full-blown motocross track. And so it's a whole different ballgame now. So yeah, I think it takes more to teach them to look forward than it does to actually ride the bike.
Yeah.
The only thing Bowen forgets is the brakes. I mean, he's at the point now the brakes are just non-existent. So,
See, all these problems are the same in horses too.
Yeah.
I mean, just if
It's the same thing. It's
my
truly-
horse took off and threw the kid over. I don't remember if it was Brianna or Hannah threw him over the fence. The horse stopped at the fence and the kid went over the fence. I mean, same thing. The kids forget the brakes. I mean, they're kids. They're learning.
right.
All right, so for you, as not moto mom, equestrian mom, and our daughter is almost 21, but what do you want for your kid? What do you want for your equestrian kid.
Whatever she wants.
But what does that mean to you?
Just that, to pursue her passion, whatever she wants. Like, and when it comes to like a question of effort, it all depends what you say you want. If you're like, if she would have come to us with, hey, I just love riding horses. I just want to ride. That's all I want. I absolutely love riding horses. I just want to ride. I just want to go on a show or two just to kind of see what it's like and you know, be out there with other people. But I'm just there for fun. Okay, then I don't have an expectation. When she says I want to compete, then there's a set expectation where there is I expect you to give it everything you have and to do the things you should be doing. And our kid, once it got to a certain age, was all about winning. And I don't remember what age that. I mean, she couldn't even start till she was like 9.
Yeah.
So I mean, she was old enough at that point. But at that point, it was okay. Then we're all in. I mean, if this is what you want to pursue, then let's do this. Let's give it all we got.
And not to leave the dads out, Derek, you've heard Moto Mom and Moto Wife. What does Moto Dad want for Moto Kids?
Oh, we talked about this last week. Whatever he wants, but we're already every day. When can you sign me up for Supercross?
Yeah, so he does say that every day.
So you want to do the KTM Juniors?
That's next. We're gonna sign him up.
I was gonna say, how do you do that?
You just got to. You have to be ready to go to Denver or wherever.
One, he's not old enough.
Oh, okay.
So 2, they go off report cards and everything.
Okay.
So
That's awesome.
You have to have good grades. There's a lot of criteria. You have to show videos proving that they can ride, which he isn't at the point that he can even get on one of those bikes yet. So 'cause they don't ride the minis, they ride the full size SX.
Yeah.
Well, the e-bikes now, but yeah, there's a lot of factors that play into that. But yeah, next year we're gonna go for it anyway.
Yeah.
But he tells me he wants to race Supercross, and that's what we're gonna push towards. I mean, he's already at that point where that's what he wants. Yeah, he's a young kid dreaming, but I don't think that he's overly kidding either.
But there's nothing wrong with chasing that dream. And then when the kid says, "Hey, I want to do something else. I want to be Picasso."
No, we talked last week. I will give him his opportunity because I know what that opportunity entails, and I know what it takes to get into all of that. You know, first step's Loretta's, period. So this year he's going to finish out the year with his points championship. We're going to hit as many races as we can now. So and she's all about going to Minios, so that's a big step too. So we'll start hitting more and more races, and then next year it's try for Loretta's.
Thanksgiving dinner in Gainesville this year.
Yeah.
I'm up for it.
Coming up.
Yeah, and for me as a moto dad, equestrian dad, I've always told Brianna, by the way, it's Brianna and then Brianna.
Spelled the same.
Spelled the same.
It is.
Ours is pronounced Swedish, Brianna, off of Anna Hawkinson, one of my college roommates, or college
Roommate.
Tennis players.
Things have taken a
Well,
turn.
she hung out at the house she lived at.
Yeah. But for Brianna, it's always been, if this is what you want, go after it. Chase your dream. Do what you want. If you can do what you want and make enough to live, you're succeeding. A very good mentor of mine asked me the other day, is my daughter chasing her dream, me chasing my dream? And it was a kind of a, not a smack in the face, but a more of, I got to chase what I wanted to chase. But I also want my daughter to realize that there's so much in life out there, and in the horse world, there are so many different opportunities. Whether that's being a coach, a rider, a trainer, an insurance adjuster, whatever. There's so many opportunities. Don't short yourself and take any opportunity you can. If you have a truck, a trailer, and are easy to live, your chances sounds much like a privateer.
Yeah.
And I don't know how far she wants to take it, but I don't live through her. It's like I've always told the family, I don't need her to succeed. I've had a great life, but I love watching her go through her process. And
But her view of competition is not the same as yours. The only reason she loves to compete,
yeah,
but she wants to take a horse, from what I understand. Now, she's a kid, so this could have changed, young adult, whatever. She wants to take the horse, train the horse, and compete it, only to show everyone what she was able to teach the horse, and then she wants to do it with another horse.
yeah.
She doesn't want to go to the Olympics, be the best in the world, like
Be the competitor.
yeah. She wants to compete only to show what she did to get there, not to just pay and have a good horse. And I don't mean to diminish anyone else by that at all, but she wants to compete to show her accomplishment and do it over and over and over, somewhat locally, I guess. I mean, not necessarily take her horse to the Olympics, but
That she is basically, she wants to be the Randy Yoho, if you put it at, I mean, she wants to create these horses that go on and win gold medals in the Olympics. She doesn't need to be the person on the back. Randy Yoho has this track that has created, I don't know how many champions. I mean, when you're getting mentioned in a Supercross broadcast, you are the pinnacle of facilities. And so maybe she wants to be the Randy Yoho of the horse world. I'm all for it. I'm cool with that. That's cool. And we push her, but we're at a point in our lives, unlike you, where they kind of live under your roof and you get to make decisions and you get to push those buttons. We push those buttons. But we got
I don't know if we did it all right, but
we got to a point we didn't have to push those buttons anymore. Those buttons were actually pushed. There were times we'd be at the barn until 10:30 at night and we're like, can we please go home? I'm not done yet. You're going to get to that point where you're going to be at a practice track and hey guys, I got to go to work tomorrow morning. I'm not done yet. And then you're going to know you don't have to make those decisions anymore. You're going to, and that's where we are in our life, is we get to see. And you know what can happen? The funniest thing is, we talked about this. The funniest thing can happen, next year she could decide, you know what, I think I'm going to go work in a corporate office and I'm done. I just want to ride horses. Mm-hmm. And the same thing could happen to you guys, but she did that with gymnastics and went into horses. I did that from BMX to tennis, and then at 31 started riding motorcycles. But
no matter what, it's those weekends. Like, we did the exact same thing. We had not nearly as fancy schmancy as y'all's, but we had a travel trailer and we did the whole cookout and camping every weekend. And ours was at FTR races, as instead of, although we did that too.
Yep.
But it's the journey. Like, even if tomorrow any of them said they were done, like, who cares? How much fun has this been? Like,
a lot
keeps
of
them out of trouble.
A lot of parents ditch their kids for the weekend and they go party.
Yep.
Yeah.
Our party is lining up at gates.
So what's the most fun? So as Moto Mom, Moto Dad, what is the most fun for you guys in this process? Because it's hard work. I mean, trying to load up the toy hauler, get to all of that's a hassle. But what's the most fun on that Friday through Sunday?
Watching the gate drop. I mean, the motos, it's all the hard work, the anticipation for that point. So whether it's amateur or pro, I think everybody says the same thing. Once the gate drops, the bullshit stops. And it's, even if you're watching your kid or whatever, it's so much, there's anxiety, but there's no expectations. It's just all out on the line at that point. So, and you watch everything that you worked for all week come together.
And it's out of your hands.
Sometimes it doesn't come together. Last week it didn't come together. It did, and then it didn't. And you watch. Like I said, you work all week to watch that happen. And I don't just being there with everybody, because you make friends along the way the entire time. Every week you meet somebody new. Every time we'll come back from practice or whatever, she's talking to somebody new. And I was talking to this lady and this is what they do, and I was talking to this lady and this is what they do. You know what this guy said to me? Like, let's hear it. But we do this every week. I mean, every week it's somebody new, and it's that community that it's just fun to be there. It's a fun atmosphere. But yeah, the gate drop, the anticipation of the race itself is definitely the best.
But it's so good for the kids too. To like, it didn't turn out. Everything was looking great. I'm sure his little brain was like, "Oh, this is so cool,"
Yeah.
and then it's crushing. Like, but what an education! Like, to know I put in all this effort and it didn't work this time, but I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna do it again, and eventually it's gonna pay off. And the kids are out there meeting all these new people. Like that. I mean, it's all just educational.
The kids play together the whole time.
Yeah.
Even if they race each other, they're still best friends off the track. So.
Which is how it should be.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of these pros, they've all rode together throughout the years. They might butt heads once in a while, but they're still friends, in some aspect of it.
Brianna, what's your favorite part of the race weekend?
Just seeing Bowen ride. Part of one of my favorite things is when he comes off the track, and I'll come back and, I get his helmet off of him, and he's like, "Did you see me? Oh, I passed him. Did you see this? I passed him." He's like tickled pink, and I mean, he always thinks he gets first
I
place.
got first place.
He always thinks that. But, the one class he's in, they get, what is it, like first through fifth place or sixth place, they'll get.
It depends on how many people were there, but last weekend especially when he's like, "I got first place," I'm like, "Buddy, I think you got like fourth," and he's like, "Well, that's still pretty good."
Yeah, like he, and in the other class that he's riding, they don't all get plaques.
Yeah.
And so when we went to leave, he was like, "Oh, we forgot my plaque," and we're like, "No, for this class you don't get one." He's just like, "Oh, okay," and just like carried on. Like,
At least I got one.
yeah, like he wasn't. So I guess when he definitely comes off the track and he's like, "I passed so and so," or "Did you see me?" Like, he's like
Building confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every time we sit, when's my next race?
Yeah.
Like if he could, he would ride moto after moto after moto, but you gotta stress the hydration, and you gotta eat something. Well, I'm gonna go race again, even if practice. Like, she doesn't come up to any of the practices, but I want to go out again. Like, you sit, cool off, take a drink, do it all over again. But it's fun. It's even the work part of it is fun. But
Yeah.
I know working on the bikes drives me crazy. I've done it my whole life. Sometimes you just get sick of it, especially with these little 50s. They are a nuisance. But a couple weekends ago, I was out till 1, 2 in the morning. But it's still fun to me because I know what's going to come of it. So if that bike's not running, then nobody's going to have fun. So it might be a little bit of aggravation for me, but it's still fun in the end. And I know the anticipation of it, that's what's coming. So, and that's what actually pushes me to do it. Keep it going, keep them running, and it's a fun family event, regardless of how you look at it.
Well, since you're my boss, and we've established that, we've kind of transitioned more to the enduros, and we have an enduro this weekend. Jason and I are going off on row 17 up in Richland, and then a month from now, you and I will be up in Georgia at a national. What is enjoyable to you, since you don't worry and you don't really get to see me? What's enjoyable to you about a race weekend?
Oh, there's very little cell service where you go. So it's my relaxation time. I mean, it really is. I go out there when I get to take the doggo. We go out and let him off leash and go have fun. And otherwise, I'm sitting there under the tent or my umbrella, just chilling. Like, just if there's an opportunity, if I get to see part of the track, that's awesome. But it's literally my relaxation time.
What's your favorite place we've been?
Oh, good grief!
We've gone to some far out places.
I couldn't even begin to answer that question.
In state or out of state?
Depends on how warm it is.
Yeah, exactly. Let's rule out anywhere we went when it was cold, because I didn't enjoy it. I can tell you that now, no matter what. I don't know. I truly, if I had to, it would be probably some of the ones that when Brianna was younger, that you and I and Bree went to. when it would probably North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia area. But that's because she and I would troop around and play, do the kid things, mom and kid things. Now it's just me and the doggo. He's fun, but not a great conversationalist. So,
So, I think I can't speak for Derek, but I can try to speak for both of us that our wives are massively integral to what we get to do. Whether that's for ourselves, for our kids, for our programs. And it's important. Yes, and Michelle and I were talking about it. She's my best friend, and when we go to places, I love having her with me.
We don't have any friends, so it's the same way.
And I'm
You
shocked.
too.
I'm shocked at how many guys, like we'll see like moto groups and stuff, and these guys, their wives don't go, and I find it shocking. Like, man, why don't you want your wife with you? Like, why don't? Does she not like it? Does she not want to go? But they go to these. They just do. She's my best friend. Like, if it wasn't for her, half the time, I wouldn't know exactly what I was supposed to have. Now I've been to races by myself, but I'm like, we go to these restaurants and we go tour around and we look around and we have fun, and half the fun is the trip getting there.
yeah, but don't you wonder maybe the wives are doing like a girls' weekend or something?
Yeah, it's just it's a guy's thing, and maybe
Yeah.
But when it's repetitive, like
and maybe I started this at such an older age that I don't have many my friends that I still have that don't race. They're like, I can't believe you ride motorcycles, because that's not what we did when we were younger. So
Yeah.
for me, it may be different that she's kind of been with me since the first time we bought the bike and had to lift it up into the back of the truck because we didn't have a ramp. We
I
literally
am so glad we don't have to do that anymore.
we
That's
had
how
to
we did it.
we had to pick it up into the back of the truck. So
How many times at Dade City do you back up to the hill
yes.
so you're not twice tall?
But no, we appreciate, and I know for me, I love having her with me, and I'm sure you can say that for Brianna. You can say that for Brianna.
no, I do, and the kids at Bowen's the same way. Like if we went to a practice at Dade City and he cried halfway there because she didn't come. So it's the same concept, but like I explained it, it's just practice. The other two, you got two brothers. They have stuff to do. They got homework. Like, you're lucky that you're going. This is me and you, so you can at least get this time in. But
Well, I want to thank you both for joining us. We had to not pull teeth, but there was
It
a
was
lot of
pretty
bribery.
close.
There was a lot of bribery to get them to sit down. You guys both got very comfortable. We appreciate it. While we have you here, we're already an hour and 13 in.
and you talked way more than you anticipated on talking.
Yeah, and you did.
Well, it was
outstanding.
awkward when we just sat here and didn't respond. I tried, and then it was like
But
weird.
we're not going to cover this much. So we all watched the races. Any wild takes from you guys on the final round, Salt Lake City, round 17? Any?
And I know she's got some excitement because AP was back.
Oh yeah. Talk to us.
Well, that's my boy.
Aside from James Stewart.
I love him. I literally was on the bed, like, when he was, like, out front, and like, yes, the whole time, and then he went over, and I'm, like, screaming. The kids are in bed, but I'm like, whoa, what happened? Like,
By the way, that was very bad footwork. I have that as my notes of
He most definitely missed that break and then some.
yes.
So I have a question, and I'm an idiot when it comes to motorcycles. Like I'm an idiot. You have a front brake and a back brake, and it's my understanding that you don't use the front brake as much or often because, well, obvious reasons, because you don't want your momentum to lead you forward. Would that not have been a time to just pull a smidge of front brake?
That track was slick. So it's like he was riding on ice, and this is where I come in. The technicalities, and had he pulled the front brake, I don't think anything would have changed because he might have pulled the front brake and I just didn't see it. But you watched it. You see how he just slid.
He also whiskey throttled too. He accelerated.
There was whiskey throttling. There was, both feet weren't even on the pegs on the last loop. But there's only so much you can do with.
I mean, I can't ride at all, so I'm not criticizing.
Yeah,
I was just like, I know there's another brake there.
10 feet to stop. So from here to our cabinets, he had to make.
And it wouldn't have stopped him anyway.
Make 180, and It's just circumstances, and the camera stopped them. So
I mean, yeah.
Can you imagine those guys coming over the hip jump like, what the hell's going on here?
It blows my mind though, I guess, with him because I've actually seen him in person. That he is giant.
he's a big
Like
dude.
he is so tall and like
You two have a picture together, and you're probably like
maybe up to his
armpit height.
waist. Yeah.
not
but-
his waist. Good Lord, he ain't a giant. About armpits.
In her eyes, he is a
you weren't
giant.
standing next to Benny Bloss, for God's sake.
No,
I mean-
he's a big dude.
I mean, I guess I'm used to like Derek. I don't know, but
Oh, wow.
That's my favorite part of the whole podcast.
Might as well start that at the beginning. He's not giant. I guess I'm used to Derek. That's great.
No, you're just like you're like 5'9" and I'm 5'3". I'm not used to a tall man. So, but seeing, a super tall man on it, like
There were a lot of arms and
Like-
legs going. Like
yeah.
there was
Yeah.
a lot.
I feel like there was
legs
just
out
too
there.
much there. Like
Yeah.
he's just a big guy.
All right, so let's run through this real quick.
Okay, this is what you get when you get our take.
No, I love it. I
That's
love
why
it.
we're not getting real
All right.
detailed on the race.
All right,
because-
so futures. The only thing I have for futures was there was a little bit of overzealousness at the start of that.
my broadcast didn't start.
It literally, they were in the third quarter.
There was like 8 minutes left,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
They were already in it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't know if that's how everybody's was.
That's
Yeah,
how ours
What the
that's
heck
how ours
happened?
I was like, what did you do? What happened?
Well, and usually the futures is like mid-race or
Yeah.
midnight, and I'm like, did they seriously skip all the heats? I was livid, and then I paused it, and I'm like, man, it says 2 hours and like 47 minutes. So I watched it again. Something's off here.
So my only question with the futures, because those two, the two, they never touched, and they did tandem falls. They never touched one
Yeah.
another. So they both fall. They're both the next. Casey Cochran winning that, I don't believe. I appreciate what they're doing in the futures, but because Bennick and what's his name? Bomber. Bomer. Because Bennick and Bomer, Juju,
Yeah.
because they fell,
Juju Balmain.
it doesn't mean they're going to be less successful.
Wow.
Yeah, I told Michelle, and I don't know, we actually talk about this stuff as we're watching.
They'll be in the 250s next year. I mean,
All of them,
Yeah.
except Cochran.
yeah.
I don't think any of this matters till they go to 450.
Yeah.
So it's great.
But it's
But-
entertaining.
It isn't, and it was awesome because it was like a tandem fall. Like they never touched. Everyone's like, "Oh my god!" Oh, they actually didn't touch one another.
It's
They
like
just-
there's cat and mouse, and then one
Yeah.
fell over, and then it's like you're looking at the car in front of you, and you do what it does. It kind of what it reminded me of.
Wasn't part of it because it was so slick though?
Yeah.
It was slick, and they were up on the bowl, and it just.
But congratulations to Cochran for pulling out.
Yeah.
But I don't know who the dude was in second. But that dude was on it. Like he was coming.
And I forget his name.
I can't remember it either.
Um,
I can't remember. I didn't write it down because it just wasn't. There was nothing awe inspiring about
put
it.
in a good ride. Those Hondas looked awesome with the red plates.
Yeah.
You know, the full Honda team, red plates, and those bikes. I love them Hondas.
So that's the only thing I had for futures. Anything for you?
No.
All right. So 250 East. The only thing I had was, Deegan looked good and Hunter chilled.
Tom Viel was at Spider MX this past week.
Well, maybe he should have been practicing something else because
Yeah.
God bless he didn't. Speaking of Tom Viel, Max
She asked
Rowland,
me, who's that? He's not a local guy whatsoever, but I said he was at Spider, and then he blew his whole night. And
two-time world champion, and he can't ride a wet track.
yeah, I don't know.
But can you imagine Ian and oh Lord, what's his name? The man, DeCoster. Can you imagine? Why is it when we sit down here I can't remember names?
Too much other stuff going on, I guess.
Can you imagine Max Volan, Tom Viel, and Aaron Plessinger? You're thinking, we have a lot of money potentially in LCQs.
Mm-hmm.
And Volan didn't even make the main.
No.
I just want you to know I had 3 people not make the main. 3 of my picks.
Yeah, that was, and that shocked me because he should have been in there.
Yeah.
And Plessinger almost goes to the LCQ.
Oh.
Vial was in the LCQ. Volan doesn't make it to the main.
So on the 250 East, it's Deegan, fantastic. Kitchen in the 250 West, fantastic. It feels like Star Racing, Monster Energy, Yamaha, they really wanted to make a stand for those heat races because Hunter and Jet both look like, yeah, man, we're good, we're here.
They were just taking it easy.
Yeah, they're just cruising.
I have that. I'm like that. Those two literally just slacked off, and then Jet gets angry kind of in the main. He was getting more aggressive.
Dude,
but
yes, we'll touch on that. That is the thing I want to touch on. All right, so 450s. The only thing I had, start carnage in the first one.
the track turned real slick. That heat 450 heat ones when everything that rain was coming down.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to be a mutter. It was a mutter, but you could see how shiny it was.
But Kenny looked elegant.
Well, let's talk about more. Yeah, we thought the championship was already tied up, and here we are. We're changing it again because Roxon blows whatever he did.
Yeah.
Did he panic? Did he?
Hyperextend his knee and panic in
Yeah.
the game? I don't know.
No, that
I think he really hurt
I mean, I
himself.
like him.
I've done it many times where you stick your knee out and you slam under your knee and you can't use it. Like you hit so hard that you can jar it. And when I didn't see the hyperextension. I see where he jammed it.
Yeah.
And that hurts.
I saw the jam and it been this. I never saw
Yeah,
it.
it looked like it bent the right way because it looked like his leg went
Yeah.
just backwards off the side of the bike, which
Yeah.
I thought he would have been fine.
But he looked beautiful in the heat race. He looked
Yeah.
beautiful. And then in heat 2, the only thing I had was, and you'll appreciate this.
Heat 1 was a whole shot for Dean Wilson.
Yeah.
That's something we haven't seen in a while.
The Mud Monster looked
That would be AP.
with a whole shot. And then he went
Throwing
Whiskey
that out
Wild. When the dude is riding, yes, Sexton's going to get him at some point, but the guy looked great, and all of a sudden it was like, woo! Do it for Dale! And off he went.
what I put for AP, I said, AP is back, and I said, and then, there you go.
Michelle and I actually kind of were like, what the hell just happened there? Like, we kind of stopped and we're like, are they going to show, please show a replay of that, because I don't understand what happened. Like, he all of a sudden went 10 miles per hour faster and just launched off into the Netherlands.
I think he'd had it too because he was moving.
Yeah, he was riding well.
For being sore, I mean, he said he was sore, and he has every reason to be sore.
And I'm not a Sexton guy, either is she. But dadgum, man, in the mud, the guy was putting it together. Like,
He hasn't figured out.
yeah, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. So anything for you?
I'm happy with HRC. I know this is at the end, but when they talked to the manager and he said, out of respect for Eli,
Yeah. Oh, that was big.
we did not celebrate.
That was very
Yes.
European.
And
Yes.
I told everybody on the team there was no high fives, no celebration, and that spoke,
Yeah.
paragraphs to me. I thought that was awesome.
That was
I
a
agree.
huge thing. So anything for heat 1, heat 2 for 450s?
Oh.
Kind of rolling through this real quick. 250 LCQ. There was lots of good names in the LCQ. I have Vial is not impressive. And what happened to Vola? Anything for you?
He was up and back.
He ended up finishing 6th.
Yeah, I have no idea what was going on.
Anything for you?
She doesn't even really watch the LCQs.
That's the best part.
I honestly, I didn't watch the 450.
Well, the only thing I have for the 450, A-Ray goes bye-bye, and two-stroke fever.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that guy was going to win.
Jared Lesher.
I thought he was going to win
So
it.
Jared Lesher lives 45 minutes from where we're from.
Okay.
Yeah, he's Elderton, PA.
Okay.
He's a cool rider. He's a good rider, especially running the two-stroke.
He's running the two-stroke because someone's paying for him to run the two-stroke. He's
Yeah.
not running the two-stroke because he's choosing to run the two-stroke.
But he runs it good.
Yeah. And he got into a main
And why? Why are they paying for him to run?
because people love it, and there's a group out there that wants to see it. And he runs different packages.
Jared Stanky. I mean,
Yeah.
he's an animal on a two-stroke, though. I mean, that he will run. He wants to run a two-stroke.
Yeah, but I feel like, well,
He might be so high, the two-stroke just works.
he overdoes that a bit,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
But Lesher, like, it's a business model for him, but they've run different graphics packages. They've run the old school stuff, and but it was impressive. But there was nothing. There's just
it was all wiped out of us last week.
Oh yeah, I'm still sad. I'm congratulations to Sexton, but my dude, there goes my hero, is probably going to retire, and I know Sexton's like, I want him to come back, and I'm like, dude, that's a hell of a recovery. Like, come back from that.
That's a whole lot of respect too. I think it's just part of the HRC script.
Yeah.
I think Sexton wants to be the one on top, but.
All right, so we go to the mains. Do you watch the mains?
Yeah.
Okay. 250 main. Tell me about what you
Hunter
got.
and Dagan were buried.
Yeah.
I was impressed that Hunter got so far back up.
Yes.
Like, I think, wasn't it like the
almost
like,
the fifth, right? Or
Yeah, and I didn't expect him to put a ride in.
no.
If he was riding, he would have been further up.
Yeah.
Like, he was just kind of...
He didn't ride hard, but he still put a ride back in.
Yes.
And you could tell he was getting irritated with Dagan.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect to see that in this last race. I know he wanted to go out with a bang, but I just figured he'd just ride, you know. But he didn't. He was getting irritated, and he was fighting his way back.
I feel bad for Anstey because I thought
1 point. Literally 1 point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For Firepower Honda, like, they have a chance to be a non-factory team, get a second place.
I would have rather seen Anstey have it.
Yeah.
I
Because
mean,
I don't like. I think they said it in the broadcast. I think they said, I bet you it would have meant more for Anstey than it does for Deegan.
Much. I mean, I'm not saying Deegan didn't deserve it. He's rode his heart out. But Anstey to me has been through much more to get to where he's at versus Deegan hype.
You can't not cheer for Anstey, though. Like, you don't have to like him.
Their story's awesome.
But you can't be anti Anstey. You know,
no,
like,
I don't know
Deegan,
how-
I feel like you're on or off.
If you come to me and you're like, I can't stand that Anstey, I'd be like, just get the hell out of my house.
Yeah, like...
There's something wrong with you. Like, we're not gonna get along.
Yes.
Yeah. And by the way, congratulations to RJ. Great hole shot. Great hole shot.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna poo-poo Jet
I was waiting.
for that move though.
That was
It was a block pass move in
I was all
Supercross.
for it. I'm just saying.
Supercross.
But I'm
I mean,
a
it was
huge
a-
Jet fan, so.
racing incident.
Yeah.
If you want to call it an incident, it was
It's just racing.
that was racing.
Yeah, it was nothing. And I will tell you,
RJ didn't say anything
No.
about it though either.
RJ's like, that guy, like, whatever he said, he's like, that jerk guy or whatever. But he's smiling the whole time because
yeah.
he knows, like,
He's happy.
You know what's funny? He's probably thinking, dude, I will not forget what happened in New Jersey. I was probably owed that. Like,
Well, I like how it kind of irritated me on the show when they're like, "You think that was retaliation?" Did you hear that part?
Yeah.
Like, RJ did not do that on purpose. That
No.
like hydroplaned
Yeah.
and then some
Yeah.
when he took out Jet. But Jet seen that it was an accident, and they were all laughing at the end anyway. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know why they brought that up again because for RJ that night sucked, and to bring it up just that kind of irritated me.
but then Jet made that move, and then Jet was bye-bye.
Yeah.
He basically took off on the runway at MCO and said, see you later. And
Good way to end his 250 career.
yeah, and he took off, and had RJ had something for him, he would have closed that gap.
Yeah.
But it's still a good race by RJ. But that move, the one thing I'll say about Hunter and Jet is their whoop speed is 450-esque in the
Out of
whoops.
control.
It's ridiculous. They're closing up gaps on guys that actually can get through the whoops. And yes, the problem is he closed up the gap and got there. There was nothing else for him to do except shut off and then say, okay, I'll try it again next lap.
Yeah.
That was the only thing he could have done. Or, hey, guess what? I'm going to show these 450 guys I can do this. Because that's going to happen in the 450 class every heat.
I don't really think that he has to show anything because I think next year there's going to be a whole world opening for a few guys because he's going to. I'm not saying he's going to go out and dominate, but he's going to be a contender regardless.
There is talks. I know she doesn't know this because she didn't listen to the podcast like I did, but there is talks. The kid is railing on a 450.
Yeah,
Like
he's rode a 450 before and we've seen
Yeah.
it, and he was insane then. That was what outdoors last year.
he's still gonna have to, because you're gonna have Jason Anderson, Cooper Webb. You're gonna have
There's,
those.
there's a lot to learn.
Yeah.
But this year when all these guys are out, he's gonna shine.
Okay,
He's gonna shine regardless.
let's do this.
but-
The four of us here. Does he contend for the motocross championship this year? 450. He's going 450.
Who's in?
Jet.
Jet and Sexton at this point because Roxon's gone,
Is
Cooper's
Stewart
out.
coming back?
I don't know if Stewart's coming back or
I
not.
haven't heard much from Malcolm.
Oh.
I know they re-signed.
They re-signed, yeah.
So
Yeah.
Malcolm got another 2-year deal with Husqvarna.
AP.
Hats off to him, but
So it'll be what? Sexton, AP,
Jet.
Stewart, Jet.
So what are we
Cooper
asking?
Webb.
Is he?
Is he going
Webb-
to contend for the national
Webb
title?
will be
Yeah.
back.
You think Webb will be back?
He said he would be.
Okay.
He said he was ending the Supercross season, which he had to anyway. But then his focus was. Did he say?
He was.
Oh no! He said I
He's-
was going to be coming back like mid.
He's
Yeah.
not allowed on the bike for 6 to 8
Yeah,
weeks from
that's
when
right.
it happened.
That's right.
And it's only been.
What about Anderson?
I'm not a Jason Anderson fan.
I don't care if you're a fan. Do you think he contends for the?
No.
So define contend. What are we talking?
Is he top? Is he battling for the championship?
No.
Sexton? Jet?
Yes.
So
yes.
Anderson is more of a Supercross than a motocross, in my opinion.
He won a motocross the nation's moto.
I know what he did. I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad rider by any means.
But it all
but-
depends on your competition.
If-
I mean,
Like outdoors, Barsha's an outdoor guy,
Oh, but Barsha's gone.
but he's gone.
Oh, he's gone?
You know,
Well,
like
until his shoulder.
there's a lot of these guys. You know, like
Roxon just did WSX, signed with WSX.
yeah, like Justin Cooper, crazy outdoor kid.
But he's doing 250s.
I know, but this is what I'm saying. Is like these guys don't shine as much in Supercross, but outdoors, and a lot of the guys that shine in outdoors don't shine Supercross as much. I think the contenders that you see a lot of in Supercross aren't as much the contenders for motocross.
Okay, so does
Where-
Jet win the national title this
Yeah,
year?
win.
It's him. To me, it's him and Sexton.
I agree. Yeah,
well, in that case, I really hope so.
I think AP is going to be in there.
Ooh, you think so?
I do.
I hope
Because
so.
he doesn't have a lot of other guys to push him out of there. Does he have Sexton speed yet? I don't think.
Do you feel
But-
32nd? Do you feel, and this is my fear, do you feel 32nd leads in motos this year?
Maybe like the top three
That's,
together.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
but
and then
I don't think
just,
there's one that's gonna just.
You don't think so?
I don't
I don't
think.
so.
You're not going to see Sexton 30 seconds ahead of Jet.
You think the two of them can just leave
Run
everybody?
off. Yeah. But AP is also a mutter outdoors guy. So
Because that makes me nervous. Because we were in motocross heaven 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, we were going to have the best outdoor series we've had in 10 years, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh wow, okay, who do you pick?
no Tomac, no Barsha, no Webb, no. It's
Yeah, but now we get to see what others can do.
Yeah.
everybody else's
Fair
time
enough.
to shine. There could be somebody else that just literally comes and blows it out of the park.
I mean,
Because
now's their chance.
Yeah.
if
If
you
you're-
can't do it now, you ain't doing
And it
it.
doesn't matter because we have no affiliations with the team. Do you put RJ Hampshire on a 450 and see what he can do?
I mean, we all know what he can do. The kid can
Outdoors.
ride, but they don't have a 450 rider.
Why not put him on it?
No, they should.
Why not? Why not? You signed him for 2 more years.
And there's no. I don't think that there's a top 5 contenders. You know what I mean?
There's not.
He could be one.
Yeah.
So why not go the extra mile and the extra bonus as a
Let him go.
yeah?
He's not
See how
gonna.
he does.
He's not
He's
gonna win
do well.
He's not gonna win the 250 outdoors.
No.
I don't mean that rudely, but between Joe Shimoda, Hunter, Jeremy Martin, Justin Cooper, there's 4 guys that have him covered outdoors.
Yeah.
He's gonna potentially finish higher in the 450 outdoors than he would in the 250 outdoors.
I agree.
Yes,
Well,
no.
we'll see
Yeah,
what
I
happens.
agree.
You guys follow this. I mean, you're MOTOMOMS, but you actually watch this every weekend the same way we do. So, 250 main. That's all I had. 250 main.
450 man is Justin Hill.
holy cow.
Yeah.
He finally did it. He did it, and they gave him the smallest bit of props on the podium. Like, the dude has been on a privateer team. It's his goal the whole year. His brother finished 7th. Like,
he was still up there.
7th or 6th this weekend. The guy is a 250 Supercross champion. Finally on a privateer
He's
team.
what, 32?
Yeah. Looking a little beefy.
Yeah.
Looking a little beefy in the fast house gear.
A little
Yeah,
goatee
yeah.
and mustache, but that was an awesome podium for Team Tucker.
And I'm not a Sexton fan, but I was really impressed with the whole shot. That was a great move to get the whole shot. The only thing I had was that good start by Chisholm. How about Chisholm? And then what happened to Chisholm? I never heard what happened. He was literally in 3rd, and all of a sudden he was lapped down.
Can kind of be a Chisholm thing. But yeah, it was a good ride. And AP coming in 2nd. That was cool.
Yeah.
It was a good race for not being a good race.
But isn't it crazy how we went from, like I said 3 weeks ago, to an amazing series to all of a sudden Justin Hill is finishing on the podium?
And I obviously don't see it happening if they were all there, but he was steadily progressing every week anyway.
He was in the top 10 anyway. Yeah.
And to pull a podium out, I'm glad it happened for him.
Oh, that's awesome. And I like
Doesn't
the fact
matter what it took. He was there all 17.
And he says he's coming back next year.
Yeah.
I love to see him actually do something to train so that he comes in next year. Because, I'm sorry, I know it's motocross, but if you're not getting gate drops, you can go free ride in the hills of Oregon all you want. If you're not getting gate drops, you're not getting that racing experience. Any takers? You want your kid to compete all the time, or do you want him to just go free ride?
We've already talked about this. I want my kid to do whatever my kid wants to do.
Racing.
All right, Moto Mom, what do you want?
Oh, no.
Yes, they have to get experience in order to.
Yeah.
That's what we'll talk. You know, why don't you take them to practice? We go to practice. I'm like, we need to go to more races.
Yeah.
I don't want them to be a Dade City kid, which this year we're in the points hunt, but we do plan to hit more races. So.
Well, they got to practice till they know what the feel is by themselves.
Yes.
But once they can do that, the only way to grow is to now be with others and have to react and respond and do all those things.
So this week at Dade City, speaking of that, when the KTM wasn't running, I don't know what happened to it, but he stopped. So Bowen's thing is he'll stop and he looks at me, and he wants me to come help him with the bike. That bike would not move, and he did everything he could. I would not go down there. He rode that bike off the track, spitting and sputtering the whole way. And
Sometimes you just have to throw in the towel.
But that's what we're working on.
I just
Didn't have one, couldn't find it.
Sometimes you should throw out the towel. Bikes don't run great with towels in the air ball. Anyway,
There's been
Just
pro
you
guys.
wanted extra clean.
There's been pro guys that have done the same thing that you have done.
I appreciate your willingness to admit.
that is a very subtle mistake to me. Like,
It happens.
I would much rather do something like that than
Hey, I'm not gonna.
detrimental.
I went to a race and did not have the pads in my helmet when I got there.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
But we borrowed some from a.
I could have gave you a towel.
We bought.
No, you couldn't.
I had to race with pink pads in my helmet. We found someone that had the same helmet as me, and I borrowed their pads, and it was like
It was a
I had
woman's
the
helmet, though.
black helmet with pink pads all.
I'd be all about that. That's
He
just
owned
me.
it. He wore it well.
And I forgot to put a filter in one time. I caught it at the race, but I literally went to go crank up the bike and was like, I think I've forgotten something. So, I mean, we've all done, excuse the French, we've all done shit like, oh my God.
You're gonna screw up.
Yeah.
Like, there's only so much we can do. And I was in a time crunch. We only got to practice for an hour. out
Okay, but
there,
wait. So he did good. He, instead of just looking at you and going to help, he did it.
he pulled that bike off. And that's what we're working on, like picking the bike up by yourself. He can't start that KTM by himself. He's too small. But in Dade City, it's kind of irritating that you, in that class, the 4 to 6 class, they're not allowed. You're not allowed to have any parents out there, which it's kind of irritating because these are the same kids that are PW riders. They're barely picking up PWs, which that's a good bike to learn to pick up. But they expect these kids to pick these things up and start them by themselves when there's more compression than there is weight behind these kids.
Why do they stall?
Huh?
Why do they stall?
Like if they fall over or something.
Oh, okay.
So, like, if they fall over, they expect these kids to pick themselves up and get the bike started, or they'll let them lay there for 5 minutes.
I mean, I'm all about learning, but to me, then that's more dangerous for the other people, the other kids on the track.
Well,
Like,
last
get
week,
them out of the way.
the last race, we had an issue. Bowen did fall over, and he's stuck under the bike, and there's a couple other kids, and then the race behind them's held up. Where, like I said, these are the same kids that are on PWs. You're allowed 5 parents out with PWs. Well, allow 5 parents in that class too, because it's the same kids on bigger bikes. You know, you're allowing them to be picked up in the PW class on smaller bikes. Most of them can pick them things up and start them PWs on their own. So why don't we allow it in that class too? That speeds up your night.
Yeah.
I don't see where you can give me that it's insurance purposes or anything like that. Like there's literally, to me, there's no reason for it. And they said at the riders meeting, well, you need to be doing drills with your kids to pick their bikes up. I agree, but they're only so big. Like these kids are only so big. So that's the 4 to 6 class. So the 7 to 9 or whatever, I understand that.
Right.
They should be able to pick their bike up by then, especially these 50s. And Oakley wrecks in the yard. I make him pick his bike up. I'm not going to pick your bike up for you.
But it's different because you can give him 5-10 minutes to figure it out and get it done. But out there
in a race,
on the track, you just want the kid up and out of the way, and
because
keep things going.
Last week, Bowen, we smoked a kid because 1, their flaggers don't do a very good job, and 2, nobody got up quick enough to help this other kid that just got destroyed on the face of a jump, and he was laying right. There's a jump and then there's a dip, and he was laying in that dip, and Bowen smoked him out over the bars because, for 1, they're not doing the flaggers don't do their job, and 2, there was nobody else there to help that kid get up because they're.
But they're kids too. Even if the flaggers are out there, like we said, but these are still kids. They're learning how to focus in a classroom at school. You want them to ride their bike, keep it upright, control the gas, watch this dude, watch this, and keep an eye out for this yellow flag.
Yes.
Like, that's a lot going on.
That's a good point too, because this sport creates, I don't want to say geniuses, but their motor skills are way ahead of everybody else.
They have to be able to multitask.
Yeah.
I'm almost 51, and there's times I've crashed, and I wish someone would help me pick up my bike.
It's not happening, babe.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. And there's been times she's seen the GoPro, and I'll hop on and fall right over. It's like...
You're just...
But the best part is the sound. The sound is the best part. What?
But
if that's the only noise you're making when you go down, then...
Well, it's much more fun when he cusses.
I'm going to church.
But,
So, as we wrap this up, my season's almost over. We're going to take the month of July off, and then we're going to start prepping for the Nationals, but we're going to do a race in August, September, October, November, December. That may be some hair scrambles. I may go ride some motocross practice days because I'm trying to ride once a week. That's something we're doing. But we have the FTR race at Richland this weekend. Jason and I are in row 17. And then in June 11th, Michelle and I are heading up to Georgia, Cherokee, and Greensboro, Georgia. And I'm on row 76.
I don't think we have a room. Try to work on that.
There's the logistics side of our racing. This is the MOTOWIVES. And then month of July, we're off. The bike's probably going to be torn apart, going to be getting everything ready, going over everything. For you guys, you're kind of in the heart of the Dade City. You're in the Dade City series. I know you and I were talking. I don't know if you're ready to make a public of the other series you're looking at. You and I, are we ready to announce tonight what you and I are doing next week?
Next week we have a very special guest on in the amateur world. We'll just let it go with that.
Okay.
Did they say we were very special guests?
Yes,
No.
we did.
Dang it. Jeez.
You're very special every single day.
So this
No.
means next Monday we get to go shopping.
I like it.
But
Yep.
do we want to talk about the other
don't even
series
argue.
that you're and what we're planning on doing? We've made it. Derek and I. This is something. It's kind of self-imposed. We wanted to do 10 episodes
Just to prove that we could do it.
that we could do it every week, and one of our goals is to start covering the amateur side of racing more. The problem that we have is people have asked us, why do you cover the pros? Well, do you watch the pros on Peacock?
It's easy to cover the pros. We all know the pros. We know their names. We talk about a lot of people that people don't know.
Yeah.
But that's because we're much more in depth into it than your average fan, I guess. But to cover the amateurs is much harder when we are racing the amateurs. And there's many series, and you're racing, and it's hard for us to get there. But from here on out, the goal is to cover more of what we can
And
while playing
our
Moto
owners.
Dad.
Yes.
You know, it's hard, but we will get there.
And we're not begging. We're not begging, but the four of us, we want to come cover your race.
Yeah.
One of the things is, in order to go watch amateur motocross, guess what you have to do?
Pay.
I can sit in my couch and I can watch Supercross and Pro Motocross on my Peacock app. In order to go watch an amateur motocross, I have to get in my car. I might have to drive to Miami, Okeechobee, Jacksonville, Okefenokee, Georgia, Gatorback, wherever else there's racing.
Everywhere.
And I'm going to, obviously when I'm racing, like next weekend, I will probably have a report from the Richland Enduro because that's the amateur race that I'm going to be at next week. But the 2 other weeks after that, I'd like to have something to talk about. If there's a race out there that would like some media coverage, we would love to come be a part of that. This is it. We're not high production value people, but we would love to sit down with racers, parents, sponsors, anybody else, mechanics, chaplains, the people selling spark plugs in the trailers, anybody that wants to sit down and talk about the world of amateur motocross, we're for it. We just need to know where we need to go. And I think Brianna and Michelle are both kind of like, yeah, man, go do it, have fun. Just let me know what you're doing. And we're game. I'm only racing for the next year. I'm racing once a month. So I've got 3 weeks every month that I can go cover something. I just need to know where I need to be. And I think Derek's kind of the same way. Now you're going to be racing
Yeah, we're
a lot of Dade City and a lot of other
I
series.
think we're gonna hit the Florida. We're gonna start hitting the Florida series now that he's a lot more comfortable. So look for this on the trailer, and you're more than welcome to come talk because
Yep.
so we'd love to have some other people on.
And we'll do 5-minute interviews and we'll throw that up and we'll talk about it. But that's where we want to go. We want to cover what's happening here and give props to. I want to give props to a Parker C. And hey, what are you doing? I understand you're in the 7 to 9 beginner class, but I don't really care. Mom, Dad, why are you doing this? And how do you do it? And who's the coach? And where do you train? And what do you do? And what does a weekend look like to you? And I think that just opens up the eyes to more families and more businesses, and that's what we're going to do. Part of my process as we expand is I'm going to be branching off into the businesses in our area that make the community go around. Derek, you're going to be talking with sponsors and that kind of stuff in the moto world. Since you already have that in, I don't have that in. I have the real estate side. You're going to be, so there may be end up being 2 podcasts per week, but we're going to keep going. And I think we're going to come back and revisit the MOTOWIVES, MOTOMOMS maybe next year to see how things are progressing.
It'll change.
Yeah.
Severely, well, at least for her standpoint.
Yeah.
By next year.
And I'm looking
because-
forward to that. And I'm looking forward to, because like by Mother's Day of next year, we'll be 4 rounds in to our national travels, and to see what that looks like for her, what those weekends look like, and what the travel looks like, and what the community looks like for the NEPG, and I think that's the exciting part for us. We're still going to cover very quickly the motocross series this year, but our focus is going to be on what are the kids doing, and maybe what are the vets doing around the state of Florida in these series.
Mm-hmm.
So we just need to know where we need to go. For those that do have comments, I know Kevin said he got comments last week.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know where we need to be. We'll go. We got no problem. I have no problem. She knows. I got no problem getting up in the morning and heading somewhere. I just need to know where I need to be. And
We'll probably be there anyway.
Yeah.
At this point, I mean, race after race.
And we'll go. We'll cover it. We'll shoot some raw video. We'll get some interviews. We've got the setup. I just got 2 new Bluetooth microphones. We can put one of those on a stick and pass it around for all I care. And we can interview people left and right. We'll do it. We want to cover. And here's the deal. This is not a monetary thing for us. This is a passion project for us. We enjoy it. Thank you to Michelle and thank you to Brianna for letting us every Monday night get together and do this. And I know for Derek it's a hassle for him because we take over his house. I mean, so
It's almost easier for us because then we got straight from here. It's bedtime, bath. Usually she takes care of all that though. By the time we're done with this,
Yeah.
so
But think about that, the family aspect. Tonight, in order for you to be on the podcast, you had to bring someone in and take care of the kids.
Yeah.
And that's the aspect that I think as moto parents, we forget that if mom and dad aren't involved, someone's taking care of that.
Mm-hmm.
So that mom and dad can do something special. But any last words?
no. Appreciate you guys being on here, even though you hated it. You had fun.
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was.
You had
Yes,
fun.
I
told
agree.
you, and I told you both. That
It's
it
still
would be
weird
easy.
though. It's just
But you guys did really good. You were naturals.
Nobody's watching you.
Not yet.
They will be, but nobody's watching you right now.
Well, I mean, we all sit and talk anyway, so that is like
Right.
totally fine. This whole weird thing is just weird. It's just weird.
Well, how did it feel? You want to do it
Weird?
again? You want to do it again?
Sure, we can sit and chat all you want. Just get rid of these headphone things and the microphone things, and I'm all in. It's just weird.
Any last comments for you?
I don't think
Any takeaways on the Supercross season for you?
I just want Malcolm Stewart to come back.
Okay.
Huge
And by the
fan.
way, if anybody has an in, we will give you our cell phones. We would love to go to the Stewart compound one day, tour it,
Just watch.
Yeah.
tour it, watch. We don't need to talk to anybody. As cool as it would be, we're literally 15 minutes from the Stewart compound here. Where we sit right now, we're 15 minutes away. We would love the opportunity to just go and it's kind of like going to Fenway Park. It's just, this is where greatness.
A lot has happened there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just because it's the Stewart compound. It's literally
Yeah.
right before Daytona. A ton of the pros are there riding. It's just it's a cool place, and knowing that they came from that.
Yep.
And it's like it's right.
It's right
Here.
here. Yeah.
You pass it. You
We
go down
all-
Yeah,
Kokomo
we all-
Road.
Yep.
and
Drive
it's
by
right there.
it. Yeah.
And
Look
it's-
for the half tires in the mailbox.
Yep. And if anybody has a way for us to get in and visit, we literally promise we won't talk. We just want to go see it. It's kind of like going to 83 compound, or I'd love to go to Alden's one day just to. I want to see how these guys train. I think that's the thing
Yeah,
you
just
and
to
I've
look
talked
at
about
it.
multiple times is what does greatness look like. Brianna used to tell us
Behind the scenes.
they would have these 5-star riders, which 5-star riders are the world's best in her world, and she would talk about like, well, they're doing this drill and they're doing this and they were doing this and it's like, well, you do that stuff. They just do it at a different level, and I think it would be awesome to just sit one day and digest what these riders, the things we appreciate.
And if Bubba or Malcolm happen to be there, I promise I will tie her hands behind her back.
Good luck.
I'm never ever gonna live this down.
You shouldn't. But I want to thank Brianna and Michelle for being on the podcast tonight. Thank you guys both so much. We know we had to pull some legs to get you guys here, but you both mean so much to us and what we do and who we are as people. And anytime you want to come back, I know you say it's uncomfortable or whatever, but anytime you want to come back, we'd love to have you because I love the perspective.
You're welcome to be at your house anytime you want.
You live here, right?
Yeah. You don't have to do laundry. Even though, by the way, this is the reason that it smelled so good that one day is Brianna was drying some clothes.
By the way, I got the dryer sheets, the name, and everything ready for you to go.
I'm ready.
Excellent. He comes home, he's like, oh my God, it smelled so good.
We had to stop the podcast, and I thought he was going to be like, I'm going to get sick from that. No, my God, does that smell good? I'm like, are you serious? We stopped for this? Couldn't talk about this later?
Nope.
But for Derek Schaefer and Brianna Schaefer, for Michelle and Trey, with Michelle and Trey Real Estate, I want to say congratulations to Chase Exon on the 2023 Supercross Championship. I want to say congratulations to Jet and Hunter Lawrence because honestly, that is something I just don't know if that will ever happen again. That was the coolest thing to. Can you imagine being in the stadium and hearing the Supercross voice guy? And now your 250 east and 250 west.
I don't care. That's, his voice is awesome.
Oh, that's so cool.
I would be...
Yes.
But can you imagine the feeling and to be part of that team? Congratulations to all the champions for Supercross. Week off, and then we go to motocross, the true grind. And Derek and I's new roles of covering the amateur starts next week.
Yeah, tune in next week because it is going to be a good one.
Yeah.
It's going to be different.
Yeah.
It's probably not the average guest, I guess, but they're very involved in the amateur motocross community. So.
Yep. And we look forward to it. We may even have to dress up a little bit.
Are you kidding? I thought it was.
We are who we are.
Are we doing it here?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're coming here.
We're going to be poolside again. By the way, thank you to the Schaefers for the poolside studio.
Can't even hear the water running in the background tonight.
DBS Handyman Services and Fabrication, Michelle and Trey Real Estate. This was episode 10. We did it. We made it 10 episodes. And now the fun begins. Episode 11 starts the new process for the Beyond the Curve MX podcast. We look forward to seeing you all and listening to you all next week. For Derek and Trey, Brianna and Michelle, thank you and good night.
Do you know how freaking long it's going to take this damn thing to process? It's almost 2 hours.